George Benson, brought to you by the United States Army Reserve. I'm Al G. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Breezin, as performed by George Benson, and that's a title cut from George's new album, I'm Al G, and this is Rappin' Rhythm in New York, and our guest today is the George Benson. How you doing, George?
All right, Al. How you doing?
Well, I guess these days, I'm fine, but these days, you got to be doing super fine. You're on top of all the charts. You got a winning thing going, and I think your album, as a matter of fact, is one of the top sellers in the country today, and within the next couple of weeks, it's going to be one of the top sellers in the world, which makes you a biggie, man.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that has happened, and I'm very happy about that, and that is that it gives other musicians who have come from the same direction something to look forward to. Of course, I can't say say enough about how happy I am that it happened to me, but it shows promising light for others who are in the same boat, so to speak. And also, it gives me an opportunity to work with people from other fields, you know, in concert situations. We've been doing some things with people like Natalie Cole. We've done some things with groups that are not considered, you know, specifically jazz people, but very much, you know, from the top echelon of things, you know.
You know, George, prior to your success with your latest album, you've been considered, even then, to be the top guitarist in the country. But this particular record just brought out so much more, man. It sort of like put the icing on the cake, and the way you projected this particular piece of work was just amazing, man. It's nothing less than a work of genius, but it did not come overnight. It was not an overnight effort. I think you've been in the business for a long time now. And George and I, we happen to be homeboys from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And I remember the days when you strumming the guitar, you know, in Pittsburgh. On the
talking about street corners and things?
Man. Yeah.
No doubt about it, man.
And so, if I'm not mistaken, you're self-taught. You what you know is what you've taught yourself, and you were determined, and hey, look, it happened. And like you said before, I think it is an incentive for other performers and entertainers, because no matter how much dues you have to pay, no matter how long it takes, how hard you try, and how many heartaches and heartbreaks you may have trying to reach that pinnacle of success, I think that when you get there, and the album like Breezin, when it happens, it's worth it all. Worth it all.
Very, very true. It's very true. This album, I believe, is a landmark in a lot of ways, especially for me, in the sense that it was the first album in 8 years that I recorded with my own ideas, the way I wanted to record it, with the musicians that I wanted to record with. My trouble, I think, in the past, if you can call it trouble, was that I've always tried to convince my producers to let me select my own musicians, the people I wanted to work with. Mm-hmm. And they would go some of the way, you know, they'd select, let me select one, and then they'd put the rest of the other 30 with me. Uh-huh. But in this situation with Warner Brothers Records, the producer leaned very much and relied very heavily on my knowledge of my audience. Mm-hmm. You know, and I'm the type of person, I'm from the streets. I mean, I know people. I'm with them all the time, you know, people of all walks of life. And when I play music for people. Mm-hmm. And all he has to do is tell me when he wants to make a record. Mm-hmm. And we can put our heads together, and I think I know what people will buy. And still keep musical integrity. You don't have to give up musical integrity to play for people. To say that is to say that people don't have integrity, that listeners don't have integrity. They do. That's what they're saying. We have integrity. Give us some music, give us something that we can get into, and if integrity is your bag, let us hear it.
That's well said, George. Hey, listen, we're going to take a break right now for this word from the Army Reserve.
You'll learn what you're made of while you're earning your share in the Army Reserve. You'll be proving that you care while you're serving your country and your future besides. As a part-time soldier with full-time pride, you'll earn when you serve in the Army Reserve, and part of what you earn is pride.
When you serve in the Army Reserve, you'll learn a skill and earn a good second income. But there's another part to what you'll earn. It's something you pay for with your sweat, your spirit, your mind, and your time. It's called pride.
You earn when you serve in the Army Reserve, and part of what you earn is pride. Yeah.
This This is Al G for the United States Army Reserve, and our guest today, George Benson. George Benson, taken from his latest album, Breezin, and a tune entitled 624. Our guest today on Rappin' Rhythm in New York. George, it's so great having you with me today on this particular program. I've looked forward to rapping with you on Rappin' Rhythm, and it's unfortunate, hey, that we're just getting together in terms of this show. However, George and I go back to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, in the childhood days, and everybody knew about George in Pittsburgh, man. He was the cat that was going to make it, and here it is, showing up. But you know, well, on top of the charts now and everything with your new album, you've reached it, you've made it, you may say, where a lot of musicians have not, and a lot of musicians out there still paying dues. And I know that this is not going to be the end for you. I'm sure that you're going to probably get into producing other acts, etc., and so on before it's all over. But during our earlier conversation, you mentioned the fact that finally your producers gave you a free rein and let you stretch out and do something that you want to do. How do you think it's going to be whenever you start to produce another act? Do you think you're going to give them a free rein from Jump Street, or you think you're going to coach them along, or how would you handle that?
Well, the part I see just very important with producers to use their particular expertise in recording techniques and relating the artist to the engineer and to the facilities that are available. There are certain things that you can do on records and certain things you cannot do. They will not come across on records, if you understand what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. Now, that is one of the areas where the producer, the knowledge of the producer comes in handy. And then another area is when the producer should be a man who has knowledge of what the industry is all about and know what areas, or try to keep things in in a marketing sense, or to keep the artist aware of the marketing situation involved with his music.
I think that answers the question quite nicely, but I do have to say to you, George, the first time that I heard Masquerade, it literally blew the top off of my head, and I just had that feeling, man. It was in the grooves, and it was going to happen. We're going to get back into the rest of your album, George, but we're going to take a break right now for this word from the United States Army Reserve. You know, right now, the Army Reserve has part-time job openings that include raises and retirement pay. You probably never heard of part-time jobs like that, but your local Army Reserve unit has some good ones. And if you want first crack at them, well, you have to see them soon. If you meet the requirements, they'll let you pick the job you want to do. They'll train you to do it and pay you for every minute you put in with them. But you'll have an obligation. You'll be working for your local Army Reserve unit 16 hours a month, and you'll spend 2 weeks annual training every year you're in. You see, the Army Reserve doesn't offer jobs that are here 1 minute and gone the next. The jobs last. You earn some nice money, and more importantly, part of what you earn is pride. And now here's more music from George Benson.
Are we really happy here with this lonely game we play? Looking for words to say, searching but not finding understanding anywhere. Lost in a masquerade, both afraid to say we're just too far away from being close together from the start. We tried to talk it over, but the words got in the way. We're lost inside this lonely game we play. Hearts are weeping, disappear every time I see your eyes. No matter how hard I try to understand the reasons that we carry on this way. We're lost in a masquerade.
That's Georgie Benson. I'm Al G. This is Rappin' Rhythm in New York, and our guest today is my homeboy, Georgie Benson. That kind of tells the story where you're from, Georgie, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And needless to say, I know how you got started, but perhaps you can relate to our audience just how it all started for you.
Well, it started at a 4th of July celebration about 27 or 28 years ago.
Now, wait a minute. I want to make an interjection here, folks. That does not mean that George Benson is 20 years older than what he just, the statement that he just made. It simply means that George Benson was in short pants and could hardly hold a guitar in his two hands.
Right.
Okay, I didn't continue,
That's
George.
very good. I'm glad you made that injection there, because I was a child then. I was very small. And I heard a live band for the first time, and I had to see what this band was all about. They were having a talent contest. I joined the contest. I was the last contestant, and I won the few dollars that they had as a gift, and that started my career. And instead of selling papers on the corner, I took my ukulele to the paper stand one day, and where I had only sold one paper. In my whole life, I sold one paper, which grossed me 1 cent. And from that point on, I decided to give up papers. And I went to the grocery store to spend my penny for some candy, and a guy asked me if I could play my ukulele. And that started my career. I played my uke, and the crowd gathered around, and my cousin, who happened to be with me, took off his cap and passed it, and we gathered together about $4 or $5 right quick, and I said, wow, this is it.
Hey,
Big time.
I can tell you something, though. A couple of more Breezin albums, and you'll be able to buy that particular newspaper that you made 1 cent off years ago. George, listen, we're going to take a break right now for this word from the United States Army Reserve, but we'll be right back with some more George Benson music.
You'll learn what you're made of while you're earning your share in the Army Reserve. You'll be proving that you care while you're serving your country and your future besides. As a part-time soldier with full-time pride, you'll earn when you serve in the Army Reserve, and part of what you earn is pride.
Hi, this is Barrett Strong. When you serve in the Army Reserve, you learn a skill and earn a second income. But there's another part to what you earn. It's something you pay for with your sweat, your spirit, your mind, and your time. It's called pride.
And part of what you earn is pride.
And now, here's more music from George Benson. Hey, listen, Georgie, the interview is always short, man, when you're really getting into something interesting. And I want to thank you so much for taking the time to stop by and chatting with us. And hopefully the next time you come around this area again, hey, maybe we can do it all over again. Let's say the next big album.
Hey.
Okay? Ladies and gentlemen, that's George Benson. And I'm Al G, reminding you that in the Army Reserve, part of what you earn is pride.